What's up, Foresiders? This is Matt, and I am talking to you from Pax Prime, Day 4. We're about to end it. I had a blast. I got to meet a ton of great people. Scott Kurtz, Chris Perkins. I got to go to Acquisitions Incorporated. I got to go to a ton of panels, like the Guild Wars 2 panel, which we have on the channel, amongst other things. But I'm going to give you my highlights and my thoughts so far. Tons of content, tons of stuff. If you ever get a chance to go to PAX Prime, please do. It's a blast. It's nerd mecca, in my opinion. We talked about it a lot in the PAX special, but I mean, I got to play Pathfinder twice, actually, with my buddy Mike Carney. Shout out. And we got to hang out with a ton of cool people. The people in our room were awesome, and we got to go to a ton of great places to eat. Seattle's amazing. Got to play Final Fantasy 15. Got to play a lot of Heroes of the Storm out here at the Gigabyte booth. We got to see a ton of great cosplay, which the small highlight reel that I showed you on my Day 1 and 2 video are just the tip of the iceberg. I have a ton more. I'm going to kind of detail a little bit more about my PAX experience on a full video next week. Once we get a chance to edit one together. I filled up my hard drive with footage, so much footage. But I got to the people that I got to hang out with and meet. I got to wave hello to Chloe Dykstra, who was hanging outside the panel. If you don't know who she is, she's a great cosplayer. She does a section called Pizza and Porn on, I believe it's on Geek and Sundry. Please do not sue me if I get that wrong. I got to meet a few other people. Chris Perkins was probably my favorite panel of the event, because he's a game master. He does if you ever check out Acquisitions Incorporated, he's the GM for that, and he's the creative director for Wizards of the Coast, for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, as well as numerous other things, the Star Wars game that they put out as well. He was the creative director on that, and he's just an amazing mind when it comes to game mastering and just storytelling in general. Just to give you kind of a slight cliff notes on what was talked about there. He talked about a game that he played with Gygax, the creator of Dungeons and Dragons, and the coolest thing that he mentioned of how he plays, how he GMs, is that he's not actually in the room. He's in a neighboring room, like the dining room. Say you're playing in the kitchen, he's in the dining room, and there's a player called the Caller, which is one player that is the only person that gets to talk to the game master, and he spreads out all of his notes and he talks to you from the opposing room. And I found that fascinating, because I've never heard of somebody game mastering a game from a separate room from the players. But we can't tell him he's doing it wrong, because he's Gary Gygax. He invented Dungeons and Dragons. So that was just an interesting fact. And he talks about episodic storytelling in his games, which I have instituted in a lot of my games already. But like basically making each session of the game an episode, and making the entire campaign one season in that whole ordeal. So making it a season and a show, and that basically allowing your players to name their games per episode is pretty cool. So that was awesome. Scott Kurtz did a panel with his father, 71. He's 71 and looks amazing, and he cracks me up. He has an amazing sense of humor. So that was great. Scott Kurtz, if you don't know who he is the creator, artist, and chief writer of PvP, which is a webcomic, and he's also one of the featured people in PAX. If you watch Acquisitions Incorporated, he plays the dwarf, which is Binion. Binion. And he's also working on a new comic called Binion's Minions, which is all about the minions of his dwarven characters. So that was one of the funnest panels, hilarious panels. And then other than that, Becca got to go to a bunch of cosplay panels. She got to go to a molding panel, which was more the basics of molding, what materials to use, what materials not to use, the terminology. Really great stuff for starting cosplayers, and you know, if you're going to start molding things and making things out of molds. She is it was one of the great panels that you would go to if you were a starting cosplayer. So with that in mind, as you can see, I'm wearing my PAX hoodie that I just got. This is the Pixel hoodie. So it's got the pixel panel, and then on the back, I can't show you the back, but the back has the Pax logo and pixelated, which is pretty cool. And I got a ton of other swag, like a bunch of Funko Pops. So I'm gonna do basically sort of an unboxing of those when I get home, when I have room to just kind of spread them out. But it's exhausting, and honestly, here's the way I look at it: is by the time you're at day 4, you feel like you're like, oh man, I really want to get home. But then you're like, oh my God, I don't want it to be over, because there's so much to do. There's some stuff I swear I missed. I swear to God that I missed. But I tend to con solo for the most part. So if I'm in a group, I tend to just branch off and just kind of go do my own thing. So so that allows me to go in and see things that most people otherwise wouldn't, or be on my own schedule. So basically, guys, this is kind of my highlights, cliff notes, overall thoughts of PAX. It is amazing. It is a fun event. I am definitely coming next year. I'm coming pretty much every year they will throw it. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. So keep an eye out. We are going to have a ton of content coming out over the next couple of weeks, preferably next weekend, but most likely it's going to be you know, smaller videos throughout. We're going to try and spread it out a little bit. But until next time, guys, I'd like you to do me a favor and roll for initiative. Have a good one.